Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Dr. Jan Fortman with Relationship Matters TV. I hope everyone is having a good, beautiful, blessed morning, afternoon, or evening. We are here in Chicago, and guess what? We are so happy that it's nice outside. And I know I said this last week because we're just so happy because we've had some horrible weather. But what do you think about the weather, or I don't know what to call it, the air pollution or the smoke that's in New York City from the wildfires in Canada? Can you imagine? I know some of you out there are probably in New York, but you know, put it in the comments. How is it? What are you doing? Are you staying indoors? Does it smell like it's something burning or what? I just could not imagine going outside or just looking out the window and everything is orange. It's like almost like a science fiction movie. Here in Chicago, we had a little haze. You could kind of tell if you put your sunglasses on, you could really see the brown. And at one point, it was kind of a little difficult to breathe, but it, the environment is, the world is just changing. So, but anyway, I'm glad to see all of you this evening, because it's evening here in Chicago, and excited to bring a young lady on. I haven't known her that long, but she is a dynamo. She has impressed me so that I told her, you know what? I need to have you on the show because you need to tell people need to know about you. There used to be a program on Someone You Should Know, came on in Chicago. I don't know if it came on anywhere else, but she is someone you should know. Now, let me say this right up front for my viewers who see me for the last 2 years. Yes, I have a different hairstyle. So don't put it in the chat because I know you will. Like, you got a new hairstyle. Yes, I do. This is going to be my summer do braids. So I'm going to see how it's going to do. But anyway, enough about me. Let me bring on Ms. Matoya Tolliver Brown.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Matoya Tolliver Brown. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. And I would like to say, I love your hair. You
Well,
inspired me while I was in the waiting room to put a little bit of lipstick on. So, thank you for that. And
oh, girl, you're welcome.
I'm
You're
doing good
welcome.
this evening. Mhm.
Great, great. So, you know what? I was looking at the bio that you sent me, and I was amazed that, I talk about sometimes a thread that goes on in people's lives. And I looked and I asked you, well, what do you do? Well, first of all, let me tell everyone where I met Matoya. I met her at our Toastmasters meeting. She came in and she jumped right in. And a lot of times we have people who come and they sit and, observe and they don't want to speak or whatever. Matoya jumped right in and she decided to speak, and she decided to take a role in and what we call our functionaries. And I thought, oh my God, let me find out who this young lady is. So I found out you are in customer service,
Mhm.
and and you're also a tax preparer.
Mhm.
And this show is all about relationships and customer service. You have to be a person who pays attention to personal and professional relationships. And so and when I looked at all the things that you do, I thought, you know what? You've been involved in customer service practically all of your life.
Yes.
All of your life. So just just so people get to know who you are, just tell us just a little bit about you personally.
A little bit about me personally
Yeah, before we go into customer
before
service.
we go into customer service.
Yeah.
I am 42 years old.
No,
I
you're
am,
not.
yes, I
That's
am.
the first thing I would know. I thought you were like in your 20s.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes, I'm married, no children, but I've always wanted children. So I have nieces and nephews, which are like my children. So I have a big sister, a younger brother, my parents, who've been together before I was even born. I still have my grandfather around who's 91. I was really close with my husband's grandfather who just passed in February. So I am a family oriented, spiritual, God fearing, loving human being.
Okay. How did you get into customer service? What did you do before you got into customer service?
Before getting into customer service, I was a kid. My first job, I was 15. Um, and I wanted things that my parents couldn't afford. And so I was in high school and they told me that I could take a job. And so, me not even, um, so I grew up going to the Kingdom Hall. And so, um, there was a lady that was at the Kingdom Hall, and I was always nice and speaking to everybody and kind. And so she asked if I wanted to be the shampoo girl for her. And so I said, sure. And so not only did she do my hair, she paid me every week to shampoo heads, and I got tips. And all it required was me, and I was 15 years old, and all it required was for me to do a good job. So that got the ball rolling in terms of customer service. So I said, oh, if I treat people right, and I show up and do what I'm supposed to do, not only will I be rewarded by the person I'm working for, I'll also get a reward from the people that I'm serving. So that was how I got into customer service. So that was my first job, and throughout my teenage years, I enjoyed being a waitress and working at restaurants. I worked at the Martinique, which used to be on 95th and Western, where Walmart is now. I'm sure some people probably remember that, but it was like a grand ballroom. And
Right.
so,
I remember.
oh,
You
it was one of the best jobs I ever had. So, and I would do that
wait
on,
a minute. Hold, because I've heard waitresses complain.
oh no, if you have good customer service skills and you know how to treat people, you don't let the bad outweigh the good. So you're always going to run into people, and you can kind of, I don't like to stereotype, but you can kind of, see who will pay and who won't pay. But sometimes the way you treat people, that might make them dig into their pocket and give you something. So, and these, I was a waitress when I was like a teenager in my early 20s. So something was better than nothing. So I wasn't complaining. It wasn't like I needed that to survive off of. But yes, so I enjoyed waitressing because you bring money home every day. And so, and plus you get a paycheck. So that's what I enjoyed. And so then I started thinking about my future, and I attended Robert Morris College when I was like in my 20s, and it was a business school. And
Okay.
so then that got me into creating a resume and start thinking about, administrative things, but always like customer focus. And then my first corporate job was at Pitney Bowes. And so I worked inside of the mailroom, and we worked inside of a law firm. And so there was a manager and there were like supervisors, and I was just a regular person, but I would sort the mail in the mail room and then deliver it to the people on the floors. You develop relationships with the attorneys, the assistants, and if you're not doing a good job, they can say, hey, we don't want her to come back. So I did that probably from like maybe 22 maybe to like 30, because I went from Pitney Bowes to another outsourcing company called Williams Lee, and I was there for about 5.5 years before I got laid off. But so that was during the time when companies
What
and
kind
some
of company was that?
Williams Lee was also outsourcing. We worked inside of law firms as well. So I worked for Williams Lee. The first law firm was Sidley and Austin on One South Dearborn, the law firm that Barack Obama worked at.
Oh,
So
get
yep,
it
and I
to
worked
see
at.
him?
No, he was not there then. This was
Oh,
like in 2005 or something like that. And then I worked at Latham and Watkins, which was in the Sears Tower. So these were all customer focused roles, but they were in a corporate setting. So you have to carry yourself a certain way because you're around different people. And so that helped me develop a different type of customer service skill. And after leaving the outsourcing, then I've been working at the University of Chicago since 2014. And so it's been, not necessarily customer, but customers, because the students, their parents pay tuition. And so they want the students to be treated a certain type of way. And
so
so,
what did you do as far as the students were concerned? What did you do?
well, when I first started, I was a desk clerk. So I worked inside of the dorms.
Oh,
And
okay.
so the dorms, it was for dorms are for, I think, freshmen and sophomores.
Hmm.
So coming to Chicago, we were kind of like their mamas, kind of monitored them a little bit, without really saying we monitor them. But if they have guests that need to be checked in, we made sure you can't get past us and sneak anybody in. That's a security, you know, issue. So we had to make sure that their guests were checked in. If they you know, throwing on the weekend, sometimes they party a little hard. So you have to make sure, are you okay? Can you, take care of yourself? So it was basically maintaining the front desk, making sure the kids were safe, and making sure the building was safe. We didn't have to leave the post, but just sitting there. And then if the students get locked out of their rooms, we would give them a lockout code so that they could have access. It was so many things. If there was anything, somebody gets stuck in the elevator, you call the engineer. Just you just all we just did everything.
So you had to form. Did you form, like lasting relationships? I know you had to be a very person astute especially around college kids, brand
Mm-hmm.
new.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to use actually your customer service skills,
Mm-hmm.
or your personal skills.
Yes.
Okay.
So I didn't necessarily develop relationship with the students in the dorm, but I'm a person who always is looking for the next thing, next best thing, or trying to advance or better myself. And so I went into a role in the library. So I stayed with the university, and then I went to the library, which is the main library on campus where the students come to check out their books and go. The library was open 24/7. The reservation and reserve desk that I worked at, circulation and reserve, we closed at 1 a.m. in the morning. So I developed relationship with the kids there because we had student workers, and I learned so much from them. The University of Chicago is a school of humanities, and the students that I've encountered want the world to be a better place, and they were just super awesome. So I enjoyed working at the library. I was there for like a year and a half, and then I resigned from the university and moved to Wisconsin for a little over a year. And anybody that thinks about leaving or going somewhere, I think that they should do it, because you don't know what's out there unless you try. So I appreciate the experience, but I did come back. But yep,
Why did
still,
you come back?
because I went there for a relationship that didn't work out, and
Oh,
that's the honest that's the truth. So
okay.
yep. So came back, and because I had a good rapport at the university, they let me right back in. I didn't even have to interview.
All
They
right.
were like, "Oh, Matoya, yes, come back." And
Okay.
so I came back part time, and then I was working full time at the Alzheimer's Association. So I started working for the Alzheimer's Association in January of 2018 through April of 2021. That was also a customer service role, even though my job was helpline agent. And I was responsible for consoling, advising caregivers of persons living with dementia or Alzheimer's.
Oh my goodness. I
Yes,
know that was very interesting.
it was very, very interesting. It was very, very fulfilling as well. If I can help one person, my day was much better. I mean, the calls range from, men crying on the phone, women, husbands, wives telling me the whole life story. I mean, it was a lot, but I appreciated it. It was a good time for me, and then I end up working for the university full time. So I was full time from the university from 2014 all the way until I resigned. And then when I came back, I did part time, and then did the Alzheimer's Association full time. I always held on to the university because it's just a place that I love. I just feel safe there. And so after I got my broker license, the position in the department that I'm in opened up, and it's dealing with leases. And so I
Okay, so
said,
wait a minute. This you jumped. So now it's customer service, but you decided to get a real estate broker's license.
yes.
So why did you decide to do that?
And I think I discussed this with you. I had a conversation with someone, and they owned a property, and they had a management company that was managing the tenant, but the tenant was not happy because they were not fixing things, and they were constantly billing this person. And I'm like, this seems odd. It doesn't seem right. And so I said, I wonder if that's something that I can do, property management, because I know I will be honest. I will make sure my tenant is taken care of, because if you don't have a tenant there, you ain't getting paid. And so it was like this management company was just basically taking advantage, doing the bare minimum. And if you under contract with them, or you don't live in that state, you're basically at the mercy of them. And so it's like, I know that I can do a great job at being a property manager, because that is customer service. And so when I took a property management class with Chicago Association of Realtors, and Taft West, he was in property management for like 30 years. And he talked about all the time. He managed like the projects, and just when I say this man was super awesome, it was a 2-day course that I took with him. He had me on fire. Like I was like really into it. And then something said, let me just see, if I can get my broker's like, because so I always do my research before I actually step into something, because I want to make sure that I can do it. I don't want to get my hopes up high. And so then I actually took the signed up for a class, and it was in the summer of, I think it was 2019, and it was every Saturday for like the whole summer. I didn't care for the instructor. I said, "This is my summer. I'm out of here. I'm not learning anything." I dropped out.
Okay.
Yes. And so then the very next year, the pandemic hit, and I was still working. And I think I was working from home. And I said, I'm going to try this again. And I actually went to a school that I originally had been looking into for the longest. And so it's just almost like the Toastmasters. Like it was something that I wanted to do for a very long time. And then when I got the opportunity, now you see, I'm the first class, I'm volunteering. So I took the class with the school that I really wanted to go to, and I got through it. I passed.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Hmm. And
So,
so, yeah.
so you went from a shampoo girl
Hmm.
to a real estate broker.
Yes.
And when we look at
Hmm.
the thread is customer service.
Yes.
And the thread really, if you think about it, the thread is serving.
Hmm.
So that's who you are. That is your gift. And so now, all right, so you became, so now you are a real estate broker. And now let's go, we're going to go through your careers. Now, also you are a tax preparer.
Yes.
What made you want to do that?
Because I enjoy learning things.
Okay.
And I feel like when I just hand my stuff off to people and I don't, I've had somebody else doing my taxes for years and I didn't understand and know anything about taxes. And you know what? I can't even really say what started me wanting to learn about taxes, but it has been a gradual process. Like when I first decided I want to do taxes, I was in Wisconsin, and I signed up for Jackson Hewitt. They had an online program where you just take different modules, and it gets you after the 12th module, then you've completed the program and you can work for them. So while I was doing the modules is when I decided I was moving back to Chicago. And so then they kicked me out of the system, but then they got me in contact with someone from Illinois because there's different districts to Jackson Hewitt. Some of them are franchise, some of them are corporations. So it was a whole bunch of stuff that was involved. And so the people in Wisconsin said, well, if you're not going to be here with us, then you can't use our software to learn, taxes. So I said, well, individual taxes. Um, but I was determined at that point because it started getting interesting to me. And so, like I said, they put me in contact with the district manager for Illinois. And so I was able to get back online and do the online again. And I did, after I completed it, they hired me to work at the Jackson Hewitt in Walmart. And I did that, but I didn't feel like I was prepared enough to work in Walmart because I was learning everything on my own. And so I was a little intimidated. And so I didn't even really get any customers. But after that, I started so Intuit, they have like a free program where you can teach yourself taxes. I just started learning more and more. And then I did my taxes and my husband's taxes, and my parents trusted me to do theirs. So I
All
thought I
right.
was big stuff then. And then my husband told his one of his best friends, "Hey, my nickname Toya did our taxes." So his friend trusted now, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, okay." And so I just had H&R Block software that year, where I think it was like 10 taxes that you can do, and it was like maybe $100 and something, and you just do them. It's like a self-prepared type of thing. But again, back to the customer service and me saying, "Hey, I want to be good at this. I don't want to just be mediocre." I ended up getting in contact with a certified public accountant. He let me work with him for a whole year, well, a whole tax season. I learned a bunch just from him. Now, he did not have time to talk to me, but I would pick up on things that he would say. And in between the busy season, I would ask him questions. And I prepared probably, if I spent 4 hours with him on a Saturday, I probably did maybe about 6 or 7 tax returns.
Oh,
But he had a system. So I would be the first, I would enter all the person's data and all the tax information that they have. Then he would have somebody that would review it, and then he would do the final review before he submitted, which is awesome. I don't have that system. But and I asked him for his feedback, and he said that that I really didn't have any errors in the information that I submitted, and that all I need to do is build my clientele and just learn more. So I think feedback is very important. And so because of that, and then he told me to join the National Association of Tax Preparers, and just giving me just so many good nuggets just to you, and everything that he told me I did. So I joined the National Association of Tax Preparers. They have like online module classes that you could pay for. Of course, you could write off on your taxes. So last year I went to TaxCon, which is like this big conference in Las Vegas,
okay.
where you just every day you're sitting in rooms and you're learning about the tax laws.
Okay.
So I did that. So and last year, so
Is there
my
a tax law that most, is there one tax law that you could think of that most people don't know?
A tax law that most people don't know.
No, yeah. In other
Uh,
words, something, that you could probably write off and most people don't
oh,
because
that
they
you
don't
can
know.
write off. What if you have energy efficient appliances and you're a homeowner? The max credit is 300 that you can get. So if you buy a new furnace or you buy a new um, water tank and it's energy efficient, there's a tax credit for that. There's also an Illinois tax credit for property taxes that you get, but I think that one might be income based. So I
Yeah,
do.
I know about that one, but oh, we bought a refrigerator last year and it's energy efficient.
That might it may I have to look up the rules. So they got it's so much. I like to follow the rules, so you can go to the IRS website and just look it up and see exactly. But I know my parents got a new furnace, and so I was able. So it's only, I think it's like maybe 25% of the cost. You
Okay,
and the credit is up to $300, and I
okay.
think it's a lifetime credit. Uh,
Maybe only you can only do it once.
I think
Can't
so.
do it every
Yeah.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Only the
So
year you.
tax laws are made for rich people and people that have businesses because you get to write everything off. But if you're, a single person or you don't have any dependents, it's kind of hard. So I have to explain that over and over, to my nephew who is he was 23 years old, and they changed the earned income credit. You had to be 24 or older to claim the earned income credit for the 2022 year. And the year before that, when the COVID was going on, they had so many credits out there they were giving people away. He got like $1,500 back, and he worked maybe 10 hours for the whole year. I'm
Wow.
being funny, but when they take taxes out, you get that back. And then if you're in a certain bracket, you get the earned income credit. But then because he was underage, they changed the law. And that's the thing. They changed the laws like every year. You have to stay up to date on the laws. And with me being a small business, I try to stay up to date on everything that I can write off. My sister is also a small business. She's a cosmetologist. And so I am like her tax, I'm like her accountant because I have to stay on top of her. But you asked something about, oh, how did I get started? So it's just been gradual. And he told me that basically it's a referral based business, just like real estate. So if you do a good job, then somebody will refer you. My This was a beautiful thing. My real estate client, she hadn't prepared her taxes. She trusted me so much, she let me do her taxes.
Okay.
So yes, and so I felt super special about that. So I would say um, I have been doing it professionally for the last 3 years, and each year I have gained about 5 extra clients.
That is so wonderful,
Mhm.
Matoya. You know, um, well, it shows number one, y- y- you know, what an awesome customer service person you are, and the fact that you do it out of service. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
people go into careers for money, and period.
Mhm.
But I can see when you talk about all the things that you do, that there's that glow about you where you really enjoy what you do.
Mhm.
So what I need to do is take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk about have a convers not me, but you, but have a conversation about customer service and the commonalities with customer service and personal and professional relationships. What do they have in common?
Okay.
Okay. So,
Yes.
all right. So we'll be right back. This has been a really great conversation with Matoya. But this is not but this is the Relationship Matters TV show. And when I was looking at customer service, I started thinking about how what are the commonalities that you have to have in order for people to come to you? Because a lot of times we just think it's customer service is somebody on the phone that that you can talk to ask different questions or whatever. But when you look back at where Matoya started, she started in customer service. She was a shampoo girl, but that was customer service. So, anyway, don't go away. Just a quick commercial, and we'll be right back. We are back with Matoya Tolliver Brown. So, Matoya, customer service and personal and professional relationships share commonalities, and there's a significant relationship between the two. So let's talk about communication. I know you're part of Toastmasters now. So, how does communication play a role in customer service as it relates to forming personal and mostly professional relationships?
Sure. So, well, people need to understand you for sure. You need to be able to communicate effectively when it comes to personal relationships and professional relationships. Communicate effectively and be on the same page, and that helps the relationship grow.
Okay,
If that
okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what about listening? You
Listening
know?
is
Yeah.
very, very important. We have active listening webinar at the job at least every other month. So
Okay.
but yes, in relationships, you have to listen to the other person and in order to understand how they feel. And bringing it back to customer, if a customer is complaining, you have to listen to them in order to understand how they feel. So listening, being patient, kind, understanding, it's all part of communicating effectively.
Okay, exactly, because I think listening is extremely important. And when we're talking about customer service, I'm not going to mention my internet provider, but but to me now customer service is like out the door. I was trying to get a point across, and nowadays you're not talking to a live person, so to speak. I wanted to talk to someone on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to go through the chat, which of course they're not understanding what I'm saying. And then finally, when I did get a live agent, then it was still not really listening to what I was talking about. They come back and they say what the problem they think the problem is, and I know they're reading a script, so to speak. But I'm like, that's not what I'm calling about. So customer service and listening is extremely important. So what about empathy? Especially, I would say, when you are preparing someone's taxes.
Um, let's see. It's very important. Empathy is important in all areas. And what I thought about was when I was working at the library, and I tell this in interviews when they ask like what would you say you went above and beyond in terms of customer service. So in the library they have the book stacks. There was a student that came to the circulation and reserve desk looking for a book that he couldn't find. So I looked it up in the system. It says it's on the book stack, but I know from working at the library it may not be exactly in the space it's supposed to be in. It could be on the shelf above, over to the side, or below. So I took it upon myself because I had empathy against for this person to go ahead and put the out of office sign up for a moment and find the book for him. So that was an example of showing empathy. I can show all the empathy I want for tax clients, but if they don't listen and they're going exempt for the whole year and they expect to get a refund, I mean, I mean, I can only, talk to you about what you should do. But, definitely have empathy, but the law is the law, the rules are the rules.
Yeah, and I know sometimes they will probably come to you with concerns.
Yes.
Yeah,
My daughter,
and
my stepdaughter, she had got audited, and so I helped her get out of her jam by I said, okay, we're gonna go straight and narrow. So she got audited, I believe it was 2 years ago. So last year I did her taxes, did them the correct way. I did them the correct way. This year she ended up getting a refund, a small refund, but she got something. Next year she'll get her full refund. But it's because I was able to review the taxes that they audited and said, girl, what in the world do these people do? There's no way I'm going to say you went to school if you don't have a form from the school showing that you went to school. So, and that's one, like I said, another reason why I wanted to learn about taxes because if somebody's just doing anything just to get you back money you don't understand, that's a downfall. It could be a downfall, especially if you want to become a homeowner. You have to have all that stuff in order. And if you become a business, you don't want the IRS coming back at you. So I guess empathy does play a role.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, right. So now, empathy also has to do with emotions. So
Mm-hmm.
what happens when someone? Well, I know you talked about when you were working for the Alzheimer's Association, and you had to be empathetic to
Mm-hmm.
people who were calling you, like you said, crying and telling you their life story.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you see that that's something that you had to bring from working with the Alzheimer's Association to, let's say, your real estate business or your tax business? Do you
Mm,
do emotions, other people's emotions, play a part?
I would say definitely with real estate because I'm the type of person I don't want you to feel like I'm gearing you or push you in a direction of something that you want. I want you to be 100% happy with the choice you make. And there's agents out here that will convince you to get things that you want. But like my last client, the same one, this she's a young lady. She has two kids, and when we were in negotiations with the seller's agent, I'm saying, hey, this is a single woman. These things need to be fixed. I'm not going to just allow my client to just accept anything. And I just kept reiterating that to her over and over. She's a single mother with two children, and we got everything that we needed. And the seller got they sold the property, so we everyone was happy in the end. But yes, empathy definitely when it comes to any of my clients, because of course I don't want them to be taken advantage of.
Okay. So, has anyone come to you and with taxes and they start crying like, "Oh God, I didn't know."
No, not
Yeah,
really.
right.
Not yet. Just my stepdaughter, just her situation. So
Yeah,
now she understands,
yeah.
hey, don't play around because you need your money. You're a single parent. And so it's not worth it.
Now, one thing you talked about was trust, and when you said trust and respect, and when you said that your real estate client trusted you so much
Mhm.
that she had you to do her taxes, and and in personal and professional relationships, you gotta have trust and you
Mhm.
gotta have respect because those really are the foundations. So what you talked about as far, especially with your real estate client and your uh, and the fact that she became also a client as far as her taxes are concerned. So
Mhm.
that's something that I can see that you do,
Mhm.
that when you you have that, you know, and I think what happens with customer service people a lot of times, you don't trust them,
Mhm.
you know, uh, and I guess it's I don't know if it's a feeling or it's if it's how you communicate to
Mhm.
people, you know. Why do you think she trusted you anyway to do her taxes?
I will tell you why. I nurtured her for a whole year. She was a lead because I sold my sister's property in Indiana last year in June. And my managing broker said this is a lead, someone that put their information in because they like this house and they're interested. And so I reached out to her last June and stayed in communication with her for the whole year, telling her about like down payment assistance programs. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. And she said, and I didn't even know this. She said that people had was other realtors was reaching out to her. And she said, no, I got my real estate agent. So I was like, wow, I didn't even know she started to trust me and trust the process. And she has a beautiful family, two beautiful little girls. I met her mom, and it's just I feel like all of my clients are good people, and I don't know if that's who I'm attracting, but it's just kind of like I like the people that I interact with, and I like my clients, and it's also teaching me, I have to say, to be like when we talked about empathy and listening, and it's helping me be better in my marriage, customer service, because I'm more empathetic. I'm more, my husband tells me all the time I don't listen, so I've been trying to be better at listening. And so you're right. I have to think about, hey, if you're good to these customers, you definitely have to be good at home, to your husband, to your mom, because moms can be, call you all day, every day. So you cannot get annoyed with. So yeah, I think she would be happy with me because my jobs have taught me patience. And so I'm using that in my personal life.
Okay, all right. And problem solving.
Problem solving. Oh, goodness gracious. Problem solving. It's like each situation has its own thing. You can't kind of use them together. It's something different. Like with the Alzheimer's Association, I started work at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I had a caregiver called me and say that her husband, who was the dementia patient, was trying to leave the house, and they were in another time zone, so it wasn't even light outside. And she said, I don't know what to do. I cannot get him in. And she put him on the phone. And I said, it's dark. I said, have you looked outside? I know, I don't know, even know exactly what I said to him, but whatever I said worked. And I said, come in, have some coffee. When it gets light outside, then you can go. But right now is not a good time, because she said they lived by a bridge and he didn't know how to swim. And she was like really concerned he was not listening to her. And some kind of way it just clicked. Now, I wouldn't be able to use that same thing, that same scenario, that same way I solved that problem with my personal relationship, or in a situation when it comes to real estate or taxes. So with problem solving, it's just you have to take whatever the situation is, just kind of, I don't know, how do you do it? You just have to do it, just intuition, I guess, will
Okay.
kick in.
Okay. So have you ever come into conflicts, with being in customer service?
Of course.
And how do you deal with it?
um
Like
I
an
haven't
example.
had conflict in a while. I think that um with conflict, you just kind of just apologize to people and just say I'm sorry. We can make things, just be empathetic, listen, and just apologize even if you wasn't in the wrong, because people just sometimes they might choose you to beat up on, even though you might not be the problem. So
Okay.
I understand that sometimes that people are dealing with their own thing, and they can take it out on you even if you're not the problem. So, and they'll make you the problem. So it's just about trying to de-escalate situations, and it's based on that person and their personality.
Okay. All right. Okay. So when you were like the dorm mother, I'll call it that, with the college students at the University of Chicago, never any conflicts?
Not with none of the students, no.
Okay. Oh, with
Mm-mm.
some of the faculty? You
Not
said,
really.
okay.
No. I don't. I mean, I make a one friend with whatever company I work for. I always have somebody that I end up staying in touch with.
Okay.
So I'm not like a. I just try to get along with everybody because I like money, number one, and I'm not gonna let anybody mess that up. And I'm
Okay.
not gonna do it on. I'm not gonna do it on my own. So it's like, girl, you and your problem, or boy, you and your problem. You need to keep it over there.
Okay. So a question came in through a text here. And the first question is, what is your next big your next big venture?
Hmm. That's a really good question. Well, I'm finishing my bachelor's degree,
Okay.
so that's going to be huge for me. That'll be December of this year, and then once I do that, um, I don't know. I don't know.
So what are
I'm
you getting the bachelor's degree in?
well, it'll be a bachelor's of arts, but I'm in a continuing education program for adults who've already like been to school and have so many credit hours. So they just help you complete your degree. So I came to Chicago State with 83 credit hours. And so it's called the individualized curriculum. And
Mhm.
so the rest of my classes just basically have to meet the degree requirements, which is, I think it had to be so many 300 and 400 level classes. But I spoke with the dean of the business school, and just getting some guidance from him, because I had a mentor at the university and she made me think about intentions behind everything, because she said, okay, you're finishing your bachelor's degree, but if you have an interview and you say I got my bachelor's in individual curriculum, then how
I
are you
gotta know what
studying?
you're talking. Right.
Yes.
Right.
So I spoke with the dean about that, and he said, well, you can sell yourself. You haven't been in school since 2015. And so now you're complete. He said you can sell yourself, but you can also get a minor in management if you do 5 upper level management classes, which I've already completed. So I actually have a meeting with my dean in the adult learning department tomorrow, and so to talk about the minor. But yeah, it'll just be in arts, and so I'll have to sell myself.
Okay, so but still, it's so would you say that your major then is in business management,
It
or
wouldn't be the major. It would
okay,
be the minor, because the major you have to have. I'm probably missing like maybe 5 classes, 5 or 6 classes for business to be my actual major, like a
so
calculate. You know, some of the
would that be your next venture? Is that something you looking forward to doing, or something different?
something different. School, I don't see how people get. I don't know how you got your PhD and you because it is. Oh my goodness. I mean,
Yep,
it's rewarding.
it's rewarding, but it's hard. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's hard. After I got my bachelor's, I'm like, I'm not going back. But then I was convinced to get my master's, and then once I got my master's, and I'm not going back ever. But then your fellow Toastmaster, Dr. Sarah Crawley, convinced me, come on, let's get our doctorate together, and let's work together, and oh god, it yeah, uh,
And I'm so
it's
proud
not
of you
easy.
guys.
Oh,
I love saying, do you know how many doctors are in the with the Toastmasters group that I'm with? What? Dr. Sandy, Dr. Secret, Dr. Are you crazy? So
well,
I love it.
well, you know, if you ever decide that you want to go that far, you have our support.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
it ain't easy.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, it affects your personal life. It affects your definitely your professional. It really does, because it takes a lot. So the other question that came in here is like, would you like to learn a foreign language?
I would prefer to learn an instrument, but I mean,
Oh,
it's not off the table. If I didn't have a full-time job, and if I was wealthy, I would be definitely learning multiple languages. I would be in shape, but it's just not enough time in the world for me to do everything that
so
I want to do.
instrument? What instrument?
Um, that's a really good. I played the clarinet in high school, and I
Okay,
did enjoy that. So, maybe the piano. I don't know. Something though.
okay,
Hmm.
that sounds good. That sounds
Hmm.
good. I play the piano. I am a pianist, classical.
Wow. Look at you.
Only because my mother made me.
See?
But then, once I got to be an adult, it's like, wait a minute, I made a little money, playing the piano at church and stuff like that. So I was grateful. But when I was a teenager, practice, I wanted to be outside or wherever. So we only got a few minutes. So tell us, why did you join Toastmasters?
Because I want to get better at public speaking. And that's the main reason. And honestly, I love Oprah Winfrey. And I love
Okay.
how she interviews people. She does not offend anyone. She asks the most intelligent questions. She asks questions that everybody, and just her confidence in her, just and I want to be like that. And so I know that Toastmasters is going to help me get there.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, um, Gwendolyn Dunbar says, I am proud of your drive. Keep it up.
Thank you, Gwendolyn.
And Sandy Barney Ennis says, I played violin. Oh, really? But now I play
Oh,
steel drums. Go for it. I love it.
thank you, Sandy.
Oh, Sandy Barney Ennis. You know what? I'm putting you on blast right now. I would love to have Sandy Barney Ennis on my show. Not only is she Dr. Sandy Barney Ennis, but she is an amazing person. And now, someone you should know. She has a talent that she doesn't really kind of involve herself in a lot, but it's very unique. I'm not going to talk about it, but I am putting you on blast, Sandy Barney Ennis. And now I know you. Wait a minute. This is what she says. Be kind. I'm being kind. But now I know you play the steel drums too. Who do we know that plays the steel drums? OMG. But anyway, yes, Sandy, I'm coming off of you. Well, she said I did. Oh, okay. Well, I forgot, Sandy. After all, I'm a senior citizen. Anyway, but Matoya, what last piece of nugget would you like to leave with my audience? Oh,
Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. I
all
don't know
right.
what that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Be kind to yourself, because when you're kind to yourself, you can definitely be kind to others.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, Matoya, for being a guest on my show. And you've given us a lot of value, and you made at least me think broader about customer service and what customer service is. And the fact that I did a speech once called "Are You Listening to the Universe?"
Mm.
And what it was is like things that you love to do when you were a kid, or things that you see yourself doing. It's like that thread. And then when you get to be an adult, you end up doing what it was that you were doing. It's like connecting the dots. I also did what I call connecting the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you started out as a shampoo girl, you were doing customer service and you loved what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are a tax preparer, you are a toastmaster, and it's like, OMG, you're a real estate broker. All of that has to do with customer service. You definitely connected the dots. So thank you so very, very much for being on the show, for being a guest. You are delightful. And I am looking forward to seeing you again at a Toastmasters meeting and do a speech about customer service.
Okay, I will. Thank you for having me.
All right. You have a beautiful, blessed rest of your evening.
You too.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Wow, this was great. This is great. I really never really, I guess, involve myself in what customer service is. You kind of think, so they help people. But it's a lot involved in it. So I do want to thank all of you for watching tonight. I really appreciate it. And I want you to remember, there are all kinds of relationships, and there are all kinds of relationship matters. So we will see you again next week. Will be an encore presentation. So what I will do is just put it out there as to what episode, what show people would like to see again. And that will be the show for next week, next Thursday. So I won't be live, but I will be back on June 22nd. It is our anniversary, my husband and I anniversary, and we're going to celebrate our anniversary. So anyway, have a beautiful, blessed rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening. And I will see you again on the Relationship Matters TV show. Bye bye.